Before we dive into one of the most revolutionary books ever written about the power of human thought, let me ask you something that might shake your entire reality. What if every single circumstance in your life, every success, every failure, every relationship, every opportunity that has ever come your way was attracted to you by the invisible vibrations of your own mind? What if you've been broadcasting signals into the universe every single day, and those signals have been determining your destiny without you even knowing it? William Walker Atkinson's groundbreaking 1906 masterpiece reveals that you are not a victim of circumstance but a powerful transmitting station of thought energy that shapes your entire world. In the early 1900s, when the world was just beginning to harness electricity and understand radio waves, Atkinson made a stunning connection that would change how we understand human consciousness forever. He recognized that just as invisible electromagnetic waves could transmit information across vast distances, human thoughts generate their own form of energy that radiates outward, attracting corresponding circumstances, people, and opportunities back to the thinker. This wasn't mysticism or superstition but a natural law as reliable as gravity, and Atkinson set out to explain exactly how this mental force operates and how anyone could harness it deliberately. The foundation of Atkinson's entire philosophy rests on a simple but profound truth. Thought is a force, a manifestation of energy that possesses magnet-like power of attraction. When you think, you set into motion vibrations of a very high degree, but just as real as the vibrations of light, heat, electricity, or magnetism. These thought vibrations, radiating from your brain, affect other minds coming within their radius in proportion to their intensity and the mental receptivity of those other minds. Every thought you think, every mental image you hold, sends out waves of thought vibration that travel through the ether just as surely as light waves travel from the sun to earth. The implications of this principle are staggering. It means that you are constantly broadcasting your mental state to the world around you, and that broadcast is determining what flows into your experience. When you maintain thoughts of abundance, success, health, and happiness, you set up vibrations that attract circumstances matching those mental states. When you harbor thoughts of lack, failure, disease, and misery, those vibrations draw corresponding conditions to you like iron filings to a magnet. This isn't punishment or reward from some external force but simply the mechanical operation of a natural law that exists whether you believe in it or not. Atkinson explains that the universe operates through vibration, and everything that exists is in a state of vibration, from the densest matter to the most subtle spiritual essence. Science had already proven that matter is composed of atoms in rapid motion, and that different rates of vibration produce different manifestations of matter and energy. Heat, light, magnetism, electricity, and even sound are all manifestations of vibration at different frequencies. Atkinson extends this understanding into the realm of thought, demonstrating that mental activity produces vibrations in the subtle substance of the mind, and these vibrations extend outward just as ripples extend across a pond when a stone is dropped into it. The human mind is both a broadcasting station and a receiving station for thought vibrations. You are constantly sending out your thoughts and constantly receiving the thoughts of others. This explains intuition, telepathy, and the mysterious way that ideas seem to float in the mental atmosphere, available to those who are attuned to receive them. It explains why certain people seem to have lucky breaks while others struggle despite similar efforts. It explains why opportunities seem to cluster around some individuals while avoiding others completely. The difference isn't in the external world but in the mental vibrations being broadcast by each person. Understanding this principle transforms everything about how you approach life. Instead of seeing yourself as a passive recipient of whatever life throws at you, you recognize yourself as an active creator, constantly shaping your circumstances through the quality and character of your habitual thoughts. You are not helpless before fate or chance but equipped with the most powerful creative force in the universe, the power to choose and direct your thoughts. This power has been within you all along, waiting to be recognized and deliberately employed. Atkinson emphasizes that thought vibrations vary in intensity and quality. A fleeting, casual thought sends out a weak vibration that quickly dissipates and has little effect. A thought charged with strong emotion and sustained over time sends out powerful vibrations that travel far and exert tremendous attractive force. This is why wishes and vague desires accomplish so little. They lack the intensity needed to set up strong vibrations. It's the thoughts you dwell upon repeatedly, the mental images you hold with feeling and conviction, the ideas you concentrate upon with determination that create the powerful vibrations capable of transforming your external circumstances. The quality of thought also matters tremendously. Positive, constructive thoughts vibrate at higher frequencies and attract circumstances that harmonize with success, health, happiness, and growth. Negative, destructive thoughts vibrate at lower frequencies and attract corresponding negative conditions. Fear attracts the feared circumstance. Worry attracts problems. Anger attracts conflict. Doubt repels opportunity. This isn't moral judgment but mechanical operation. Just as certain musical notes create harmony while others create discord, certain thought patterns create harmony in your life while others create discord. One of the most practical aspects of Atkinson's teaching involves understanding that you attract what you are, not what you want. If you want prosperity but constantly think thoughts of poverty and lack, the poverty thoughts are what you're broadcasting, and poverty is what returns to you. If you desire health but fill your mind with thoughts of disease and physical weakness, those are the vibrations you send out, and sickness is what you attract. The key to changing your circumstances is to change your habitual mental atmosphere, to begin thinking thoughts that match the conditions you desire rather than the conditions you currently experience. This creates an immediate challenge because most people find it difficult to think prosperity thoughts when surrounded by poverty, health thoughts when experiencing illness, or success thoughts when facing failure. The current circumstances seem so real and so pressing that they dominate thought, creating a vicious cycle where negative conditions generate negative thoughts which attract more negative conditions. Breaking this cycle requires understanding that your current circumstances were created by your past thoughts, and your future circumstances will be created by your present thoughts. You must learn to think from the end result you desire rather than from the present circumstances you wish to escape. Atkinson provides a powerful technique for accomplishing this mental shift. He advises creating a clear mental picture of the desired condition, seeing yourself already in possession of what you seek, already healthy, already prosperous, already successful. This mental picture must be held with feeling and conviction, visualized regularly with concentrated attention, and maintained despite contrary evidence from your current circumstances. As you persist in holding this mental image, you gradually change your dominant mental vibration from lack to abundance, from sickness to health, from failure to success. As your mental vibration changes, your attractive power shifts, and different circumstances begin flowing into your experience. The practice of concentration becomes essential in this process. Most people scatter their mental energy across hundreds of different thoughts throughout the day, never focusing long enough or intensely enough on any particular idea to set up strong vibrations. Atkinson compares this to a magnifying glass that can focus the sun's rays to create intense heat capable of starting a fire, but only when held steady. Move the glass around constantly and the sun's rays remain scattered and weak. Similarly, focused thought concentrates mental energy into powerful vibrations, while scattered thought dissipates mental energy and produces weak effects. Developing the ability to concentrate requires practice and persistence. Atkinson recommends beginning with simple exercises, such as holding your attention on a single object for several minutes without allowing your mind to wander. This seems easy but proves remarkably difficult for most people at first. The untrained mind jumps from thought to thought like a monkey jumping from branch to branch, never resting long enough to build substantial mental power. Through regular practice, you gradually develop the ability to direct and hold your attention, to think about what you choose to think about rather than being controlled by random thoughts and external stimuli. As your power of concentration develops, you can apply it to building the mental images that will reshape your life. Choose one definite objective, create a clear mental picture of its accomplishment, and concentrate upon that picture regularly. See yourself already in possession of the desired outcome. Feel the emotions you would feel if the desire were already fulfilled. Bring all the sensory details you can into the mental image, making it as real and vivid as possible. The more real the mental image becomes to you, the more powerful the vibrations it generates, and the more rapidly corresponding circumstances manifest in your external experience. Atkinson warns against a common mistake that prevents many people from successfully applying this law. After creating their mental image and concentrating upon it for a short time, they immediately shift their attention back to their current undesired circumstances, worrying about how they'll pay their bills, fretting over their health problems, or focusing on their current failures. This creates mixed vibrations, alternately attracting success and failure, health and illness, prosperity and poverty. The result is confusion and little positive progress. To effectively use the law of attraction, you must learn to maintain your mental focus predominantly on the desired outcome, gently but firmly redirecting your attention whenever it drifts toward the unwanted circumstances. This doesn't mean denying your current reality or failing to take practical action. Atkinson emphasizes that the law of attraction works in conjunction with practical effort, not as a replacement for it. Your thoughts attract opportunities, resources, ideas, and beneficial circumstances, but you must then act upon these attracted elements. If you desire prosperity, your prosperity thoughts will attract business opportunities, but you must recognize and act upon those opportunities. If you desire health, your health thoughts support healing processes in your body, but you must also cooperate with those processes through proper care of your physical vehicle. The relationship between thought and action follows a specific sequence that Atkinson carefully explains. Thought comes first, establishing the mental vibration that attracts corresponding opportunities and circumstances. Action follows, capitalizing on the attracted opportunities. Many people reverse this sequence, trying to force results through action alone while maintaining negative or doubtful thoughts. This is like trying to drive a car with the emergency brake engaged. You might make some progress through sheer force of effort, but you're working against yourself rather than aligning all your forces in the same direction. When thought and action harmonize, when your mental vibrations attract opportunities that your physical efforts capitalize upon, progress becomes rapid and seemingly effortless. Atkinson describes this state as being in the flow, where doors open easily, resources appear at the right moment, helpful people enter your life unexpectedly, and circumstances arrange themselves favorably. This isn't luck or coincidence but the natural operation of the law of attraction working in your favor because you've learned to broadcast the right mental vibrations consistently. The power of expectation plays a crucial role in determining which circumstances manifest in your experience. Expectation is a form of thought charged with certainty, a mental state that assumes the desired outcome is already assured. When you truly expect something, you naturally think, feel, and act as though it's already on its way to you. This creates powerful vibrations that accelerate manifestation. Conversely, when you doubt or fear that your desires won't materialize, you broadcast uncertainty vibrations that repel or delay the very things you seek. Atkinson illustrates this with numerous examples from business and daily life. The salesman who expects to make sales radiates confidence that prospects feel and respond to positively, while the salesman who fears rejection broadcasts anxiety that prospects unconsciously detect and react to negatively. The entrepreneur who expects her business to prosper attracts customers, opportunities, and favorable circumstances, while the entrepreneur who worries constantly about failure attracts problems and obstacles. The patient who expects to recover supports the healing processes of the body through positive mental vibrations, while the patient who expects to remain ill interferes with healing through negative mental states. Your expectations are largely determined by your beliefs about yourself and the world. If you believe success is possible for you, you naturally expect successful outcomes and broadcast vibrations that attract them. If you believe you're destined to fail or that good things don't happen to people like you, those beliefs create expectations of failure that become self-fulfilling prophecies. Changing your life therefore requires changing your beliefs, and changing your beliefs requires changing the thoughts you habitually think. This creates a process of mental cultivation where you deliberately plant new thought seeds that grow into new beliefs that create new expectations that manifest as new circumstances. The principle of thought vibration explains why certain people seem to have magnetic personalities that attract others while some people seem to repel others despite their best efforts to be likable. The magnetic person radiates positive, warm, confident vibrations that others unconsciously feel and respond to favorably. The repellent person, despite perhaps trying hard to please, radiates vibrations of anxiety, neediness, or negativity that others instinctively avoid. This happens entirely below the level of conscious awareness. People respond to your vibrations without knowing they're doing so, feeling attracted or repelled for reasons they can't quite articulate. Understanding this gives you power to transform your relationships and social experiences. Instead of trying to manipulate your words or behavior to create favorable impressions, you work on the deeper level of your habitual thoughts and feelings. When you cultivate genuine confidence, goodwill, and positive expectations toward others, those mental states radiate outward and evoke positive responses. When you harbor suspicious, critical, or fearful thoughts about others, those vibrations create defensive, negative reactions. You literally teach others how to treat you through the mental vibrations you broadcast toward them. Atkinson dedicates significant attention to the role of desire in the law of attraction. Desire is the beginning point of all achievement, the force that drives human action and evolution. Without desire, there would be no motivation to improve, to grow, to accomplish anything. Desire creates the initial mental image of a better condition, and that mental image begins setting up the vibrations that will attract the desired circumstances. The strength of your desire largely determines the strength of the vibrations you generate and therefore the speed with which your desires manifest. However, Atkinson makes an important distinction between desire and anxious longing. Desire accompanied by confident expectation creates powerful attractive vibrations, while desire accompanied by fear of lack creates mixed vibrations that work against manifestation. The person who desires wealth but constantly worries about not having enough money is actually broadcasting poverty vibrations more strongly than prosperity vibrations. The person who desires a relationship but feels desperate and fears being alone broadcasts repellent vibrations rather than attractive ones. True desire must be coupled with faith and expectation to work effectively. This brings us to one of the most challenging aspects of applying the law of attraction: maintaining mental equilibrium and positive vibrations even when circumstances seem to contradict your desires. Atkinson acknowledges this difficulty but insists it's precisely when circumstances look darkest that maintaining your positive mental state matters most. This is the test that determines whether you'll successfully apply the law or fall back into the pattern of reactive thinking that keeps most people trapped in unwanted circumstances. He offers several techniques for maintaining positive vibrations during difficult times. First, recognize that your current circumstances were created by your past thoughts and don't necessarily reflect what your present thoughts are creating. Your present thoughts are laying the foundation for your future circumstances. Second, focus on whatever positive elements exist in your current situation, no matter how small. There is always something to appreciate, and appreciation generates powerful positive vibrations. Third, use affirmations to deliberately program your mind with the thoughts you choose rather than accepting the thoughts that arise from observing unwanted circumstances. Affirmations are positive statements declared with conviction that implant desired beliefs into the subconscious mind. Atkinson explains that your subconscious mind is highly suggestible and accepts whatever thoughts you repeatedly present to it with feeling and authority. When you repeatedly affirm, "I am prosperous, I am healthy, I am successful," with conviction and feeling, your subconscious mind gradually accepts these statements as truth and begins to operate accordingly. Your subconscious mind then works to align your behaviors, perceptions, and vibrations with these accepted beliefs, attracting corresponding circumstances. The key to effective affirmation lies not in the mechanical repetition of words but in the feeling and conviction with which they're declared. Atkinson advises affirming in a state of relaxed concentration, focusing on the meaning of the words and feeling the truth of what you're affirming. An affirmation repeated mechanically while thinking contradictory thoughts accomplishes nothing. An affirmation declared with focused attention and genuine feeling while visualizing the affirmed state begins to reshape your mental atmosphere and broadcast new vibrations. Morning and evening practice sessions prove particularly effective for affirmation work. Upon waking, before the concerns of the day begin pressing in, spend time in affirmation and visualization, programming your mind for the day ahead. Before sleep, use affirmation and visualization to impress your desires upon your subconscious mind, which then works on them during sleep. Consistency matters more than duration. 15 minutes twice daily, practiced regularly, produces far better results than occasional marathon sessions separated by days of neglect. Atkinson addresses the question of how long it takes for desires to manifest once you begin applying the law of attraction correctly. His answer is that it depends on several factors: the clarity of your mental image, the consistency of your practice, the strength of your belief and expectation, the size of the gap between your current circumstances and your desired circumstances, and the degree to which you've cleared away contradictory thoughts and vibrations. Small desires held with strong belief can manifest very quickly, sometimes within days. Larger desires or those in which you have less confidence may take longer to materialize. He cautions against impatience, which itself is a form of doubt that interferes with manifestation. When you impatiently wonder why your desires haven't manifested yet, you're broadcasting vibrations of lack and uncertainty rather than certainty and fulfillment. The proper attitude is one of calm confidence, knowing that you've set the law into motion and that results must follow just as the harvest must follow the planting and cultivation of seeds. You wouldn't plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check on its progress. Similarly, once you've planted your mental seeds through clear intention and consistent practice, allow them to grow without constant anxious checking. The concept of mental atmosphere becomes central to understanding why some people consistently attract success while others consistently attract failure across different areas of life. Your mental atmosphere is the predominant quality of your habitual thoughts and feelings, the general vibration you maintain most of the time. Someone who maintains a mental atmosphere of confidence, optimism, and expectation of good things attracts favorable circumstances across their entire life. Someone who maintains a mental atmosphere of fear, pessimism, and expectation of problems attracts difficulties in multiple areas simultaneously. Your mental atmosphere isn't created by occasional positive thoughts but by the overall pattern of your thinking. You might affirm prosperity for 15 minutes in the morning, but if you then spend the rest of the day worrying about bills, complaining about your circumstances, and focusing on lack, your mental atmosphere remains one of poverty regardless of your affirmation practice. Transforming your life requires gradually shifting your entire mental atmosphere through persistent attention to the quality of your thoughts throughout the day, not just during formal practice sessions. Atkinson compares this to the physical atmosphere that surrounds and permeates every object. Just as objects are constantly bathed in air, so you are constantly bathed in your mental atmosphere. This atmosphere affects everything about your experience. It affects how you perceive circumstances, how you feel physically, what opportunities you notice or overlook, how others respond to you, and what situations you attract or repel. By consciously cultivating a positive, confident, expectant mental atmosphere, you create the conditions for success to flow into your life naturally and consistently. The transmission of thought vibrations isn't limited by physical distance. Just as radio waves travel across vast distances to reach receiving stations tuned to their frequency, thought vibrations radiate outward indefinitely, affecting minds that are in harmony with their character. This explains phenomena like telepathy, where thought is transferred from one mind to another without any physical intermediary. It also explains how you can affect people at a distance through sustained thought directed toward them. This principle has profound implications for prayer, absent healing, and distant influence. When you hold someone in your thoughts with sincere goodwill and visualize them surrounded by health, happiness, and prosperity, you send thought vibrations toward them that, if they're receptive, can influence their conditions positively. Conversely, ill will, jealousy, or hatred directed toward someone sends negative vibrations that can cause uneasiness or even illness if the recipient is particularly sensitive. This doesn't mean others have unlimited power to harm you through their thoughts, but it does mean that surrounding yourself with positive influences and distancing yourself from negative people serves practical purposes beyond mere psychological comfort. Atkinson discusses the ethics of mental influence, emphasizing that attempting to control or manipulate others through concentrated thought violates natural law and ultimately rebounds upon the sender. However, holding thoughts of genuine goodwill, success, and well-being for others is always beneficial and appropriate. You can mentally support friends and loved ones by visualizing them healthy, happy, and successful. You can even mentally clear the path for business negotiations or important meetings by visualizing harmonious, mutually beneficial outcomes. As long as your intention is positive and respects the free will of others, mental influence operates beneficially. The concept of mental contagion explains why spending time with certain people elevates your mental state while spending time with others drains your energy and lowers your vibration. Thought vibrations are literally contagious. When you enter the mental atmosphere of a habitually positive, successful person, their vibrations affect your own mental state, lifting your thoughts and feelings. When you enter the mental atmosphere of a chronically negative, fearful person, their vibrations lower your mental state unless you're consciously protecting yourself. This is why successful people often advise surrounding yourself with other successful people and why your peer group has such tremendous influence over your trajectory in life. You unconsciously absorb the thought vibrations of those you spend time with, and those vibrations influence your own mental atmosphere. If you're surrounded by people who think small thoughts, complain constantly, and expect little from life, their vibrations constantly pull your mental atmosphere down. If you're surrounded by people who think expansively, remain optimistic despite challenges, and expect great things, their vibrations help elevate and maintain your positive mental atmosphere. Atkinson recommends being selective about your associations, not from snobbery or unkindness but from recognition of this mental contagion principle. You're not obligated to spend significant time with people whose mental atmosphere consistently lowers your vibration. Polite distance from negative influences isn't cruelty but self-preservation and practical wisdom. Simultaneously, actively seek out people whose mental atmosphere uplifts you, whose presence makes you feel more confident, optimistic, and capable. Such associations are treasures that support your mental atmosphere and accelerate your progress. Books, media, and other sources of mental input also affect your mental atmosphere significantly. What you read, watch, and listen to constantly deposits thoughts into your mind that influence your overall mental state. Atkinson lived before radio, television, and the internet, but his principles apply with even greater urgency in the modern age of information overload. The constant stream of news focused on tragedy and conflict, social media promoting comparison and inadequacy, and entertainment glorifying dysfunction all deposit negative thought patterns that degrade mental atmosphere unless consciously filtered. He advises being as selective about what you allow into your mind as you would be about what you allow into your body. Just as eating spoiled food poisons your physical system, consuming mental junk poisons your mental atmosphere. This doesn't mean ignorant avoidance of reality but conscious selection of what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Choose reading material that instructs, inspires, and elevates. Choose entertainment that uplifts rather than depresses. Choose news sources sparingly and with the recognition that focusing on problems you cannot influence while neglecting opportunities you can seize serves no productive purpose. The principle of thought vibration also explains the phenomenon of inspiration and creativity. Great ideas don't arise from nowhere but are caught from the mental atmosphere where they float like seeds on the wind, waiting for a mind prepared to receive them. Multiple people often have the same innovative idea simultaneously because that particular thought is present in the mental atmosphere and reaches all minds tuned to its frequency. The person who patents an invention isn't necessarily the only one who thought of it but the one who recognized the idea and acted upon it most rapidly. This understanding demystifies genius and creativity. While individual differences in talent certainly exist, much of what we call genius involves being receptive to thought vibrations in the mental atmosphere. By keeping your mind positive, open, and focused on your field of interest, you make yourself receptive to ideas and inspiration relevant to that field. By maintaining a mental atmosphere of faith and expectation, you attract the ideas you need precisely when you need them. Many people have experienced the phenomenon of thinking about a problem and then having the solution appear seemingly out of nowhere. This isn't random but the receipt of thought vibrations that were attracted by your focused attention. Atkinson explains that the universe itself possesses intelligence and responds to human thought. This might sound mystical, but he grounds it in observable reality. The universe clearly operates according to law and order, demonstrating intelligence in its very structure. This universal intelligence responds to individual minds that align with it, providing support, guidance, and resources to those who work in harmony with natural law. When you align your thoughts with universal principles of growth, prosperity, health, and evolution, you receive support from forces far beyond your individual power. This is the deepest level of the law of attraction. You're not alone in creating your circumstances but are part of an intelligent universe that responds to your mental vibrations. When you send out clear, strong, positive vibrations, you set universal forces in motion on your behalf. Opportunities you couldn't have imagined appear. Resources flow from unexpected sources. Help arrives in the form of people who seem to enter your life at exactly the right moment. This isn't magic or divine intervention in the supernatural sense but the natural operation of an intelligent universe responding to minds that have learned to work in harmony with its laws. Fear emerges as one of the most destructive mental forces in Atkinson's analysis. Fear generates vibrations that attract precisely the circumstances feared. The person who fears poverty attracts financial difficulties. The person who fears illness attracts disease. The person who fears rejection attracts social rebuffs. This isn't punishment but the mechanical operation of the law. Fear holds mental images of unwanted circumstances with strong emotion, thereby creating powerful vibrations that attract matching conditions. Breaking free from fear requires understanding its nature and systematically replacing fear thoughts with faith thoughts. Atkinson recommends analyzing your fears rationally, recognizing that most feared circumstances never actually occur and that even those that do occur are rarely as devastating as imagination painted them. Then deliberately cultivate faith, not blind faith in wishful thinking but reasoned faith in the operation of natural law. When you understand that the law of attraction operates impersonally, responding to your mental vibrations regardless of what you claim to want, you can begin taking responsibility for those vibrations rather than being victimized by unconscious fears. Worry is fear's chronic cousin, a sustained state of negative expectation that broadcasts destructive vibrations continuously. Atkinson identifies worry as one of the most common destroyers of happiness and health. The worrier maintains such a consistently negative mental atmosphere that they attract an endless stream of problems to worry about, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Breaking free from worry requires the same approach as overcoming fear: conscious replacement of worry thoughts with faith thoughts, sustained attention to what's going right rather than what might go wrong, and trust in the operation of natural law. A powerful technique Atkinson provides for overcoming fear and worry involves the practice of mental replacement. The moment you notice fearful or worried thoughts arising, immediately and deliberately replace them with their opposite. If you catch yourself worrying about money, immediately shift your attention to thoughts of abundance and financial well-being. If you notice fear of illness, immediately shift to thoughts of vibrant health. This isn't denial or pretending problems don't exist but recognition that dwelling on problems strengthens them while dwelling on desired conditions attracts them. The practice of gratitude generates some of the most powerful positive vibrations available to human consciousness. When you feel genuine gratitude, you vibrate at a high frequency that attracts more circumstances to be grateful for. Atkinson recommends cultivating an attitude of gratitude as a daily practice, Not just feeling grateful when good things happen, but actively looking for things to appreciate even in difficult circumstances. This shifts your mental atmosphere from lack to abundance, from resentment to appreciation, from negative to positive vibrations. He suggests keeping a mental or written gratitude inventory, regularly acknowledging everything in your life that deserves appreciation. Your physical senses, your mental faculties, whatever relationships you enjoy, whatever freedoms you possess, whatever comforts you experience, all become objects of gratitude. As you practice gratitude consistently, you'll notice your entire mental atmosphere shifting. Problems that seemed overwhelming begin to appear manageable. Circumstances that appeared hopeless begin to show possibilities. This isn't because the external situation has changed, but because your mental vibrations have shifted, causing you to perceive and attract different aspects of reality. The relationship between thought vibration and health is particularly significant in Atkinson's teaching. Your habitual thoughts directly affect your physical body through several mechanisms. First, thoughts influence the functioning of every organ and system through the nervous system. Positive thoughts promote healthy functioning, while negative thoughts create stress and dysfunction. Second, your mental atmosphere affects your vitality and energy levels. A positive mental state generates abundant vital force that supports healing and health, while a negative mental state depletes vitality and weakens resistance to disease. Third, and most importantly from the law of attraction perspective, health thoughts attract circumstances that support health, while disease thoughts attract circumstances that promote illness. This doesn't mean that all illness results from wrong thinking or that positive thinking alone cures serious disease. But it does mean that your mental atmosphere significantly influences your health outcomes, and that cultivating health thoughts supports whatever medical treatment or health practices you employ. Atkinson recommends treating your body with the same mental approach you use for achieving success in any other area. Create a clear mental image of yourself in perfect health. See your body functioning optimally, every organ and system working harmoniously. Feel the energy and vitality of perfect health flowing through you. Hold this mental image regularly, especially when dealing with any health challenges. Affirm health and vitality rather than discussing and dwelling upon symptoms and problems. This mental work supports and accelerates healing processes that are always trying to restore your body to wholeness. The principle of thought vibration explains why certain people seem to have remarkable healing abilities. These healers, whether working through medical knowledge or spiritual practice, maintain such strong vibrations of health and hoping that those vibrations affect patients who are receptive to them. This is the foundation of all healing presence, whether called bedside manner in conventional medicine or healing energy in alternative practices. The practitioner who believes in the patient's capacity to heal and maintains positive expectations radiates vibrations that support the patient's own healing efforts. You can be your own healer by maintaining these same positive health vibrations. Instead of identifying with illness, maintaining your identity as a fundamentally healthy person experiencing a temporary imbalance. Instead of speaking constantly about your symptoms and problems, speak about health and well-being. Instead of accepting disease as your destiny, expect recovery and restoration. These aren't denials of reality but strategic direction of mental force toward desired outcomes. You're not pretending you don't have symptoms but refusing to give those symptoms the mental energy that would strengthen them. Atkinson addresses the apparent paradox that sometimes people with very positive mental attitudes still experience serious illness or misfortune. He explains that multiple factors influence outcomes, including past thought patterns whose effects are still manifesting, karmic or inherited conditions from before one understood these principles, and life lessons that serve purposes beyond immediate comfort. Additionally, no one maintains perfectly positive thoughts all the time, and moments of fear, doubt, or negativity can create openings for problems to manifest. Rather than viewing difficulties as proof that the law doesn't work, these situations call for redoubling mental discipline and recognizing that you're changing patterns built over years or lifetimes. The concept of mental causation places you in a position of tremendous responsibility. Once you understand that your thoughts create your circumstances, you can no longer play victim to external forces. You cannot genuinely blame your parents, your circumstances, the government, the economy, other people, or bad luck for your situation. This is liberating but also challenging because it means that if your life isn't what you want it to be, you must look within rather than without for the cause and the solution. Atkinson emphasizes that accepting this responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up for past mistakes or current problems. Your difficulties arose from ignorance of these principles, not from moral failure. Now that you understand how thought vibration works, you have the knowledge and tools to change your circumstances by changing your habitual mental atmosphere. The past is done, its effects are already manifested, but your present thoughts are creating your future right now, in this moment, and you have complete control over what you choose to think. This teaching empowers you to begin immediately regardless of your current circumstances. You don't need permission from anyone, you don't need special talents or advantages, you don't need to wait for conditions to improve. You can begin right now, in this moment, to consciously direct your thoughts toward desired conditions rather than unwanted ones. You can begin right now to practice concentration, to affirm positive statements, to visualize desired outcomes, to cultivate gratitude. Each moment of conscious thought direction begins shifting your vibrations and attracting different circumstances. The transformation won't happen overnight, especially if you're reversing years or decades of negative mental patterns. But improvement begins immediately. You might notice small positive changes within days or weeks. As you continue practicing consistently, larger changes accumulate. Within months, your life may look significantly different. Within years, you may have transformed completely from where you started. The key is persistent application, never giving up even when progress seems slow, always returning to your practice of conscious thought direction no matter how many times you slip back into unconscious reactive thinking. Atkinson provides guidance for maintaining motivation during the inevitable difficulties of the transformation process. He recommends studying these principles regularly, keeping them fresh in your consciousness rather than assuming you understand them after one reading. Each review deepens understanding and strengthens commitment. He suggests finding or creating a community of like-minded people who are also working with these principles, providing mutual support and encouragement. He emphasizes keeping records of positive changes, no matter how small, so you have tangible evidence of progress rather than focusing on how far you still have to go. He also addresses the doubt that inevitably arises when applying these principles. Doubt is simply fear that the law won't work for you, and like all fear, doubt generates vibrations that interfere with manifestation. When doubt arises, acknowledge it without letting it control you. Recognize that doubt is natural when working with new principles, especially ones that contradict the materialist worldview most people absorbed since childhood. Then consciously return to faith, reminding yourself of the logical basis for these principles and any positive results you've already experienced. The concept of dominant thought helps explain why occasional positive thinking produces minimal results while consistent positive thinking transforms lives. Your dominant thoughts are those you think most frequently and with the most feeling. These thoughts create your mental atmosphere and determine your attractive power. If you spend 10 minutes a day thinking positive prosperity thoughts but spend several hours a day worrying about money, your dominant thoughts are poverty thoughts, and poverty is what you'll attract. To change your circumstances, you must gradually shift your dominant thought patterns, making positive thoughts more frequent and more emotionally charged than negative ones. This shift happens through vigilant awareness of your thought processes throughout the day, not just during formal practice times. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, immediately redirect toward positive thoughts. When you notice worry or fear arising, immediately replace with faith and positive expectation. When you hear yourself complaining or speaking negatively, immediately shift to appreciation and positive speech. This constant monitoring and redirecting feels exhausting at first, but like any skill, it becomes easier and more automatic with practice until positive thinking becomes your new default pattern. Atkinson explains that environment affects thought patterns significantly, which is why deliberately shaping your environment supports your mental transformation. Surround yourself with visual reminders of your goals and desired conditions. If you're working toward prosperity, place symbols of abundance where you'll see them regularly. If you're cultivating health, surround yourself with images and objects associated with vitality and well-being. These environmental cues help keep your mind focused on desired conditions rather than current limitations. Similarly, the words you speak exert tremendous influence over your mental atmosphere. Words are crystallized thoughts, and speaking words gives them additional power. When you constantly speak about your problems, your lacks, your fears, and your frustrations, you're reinforcing the thought vibrations that created these conditions in the first place. Atkinson recommends disciplining your speech just as carefully as you discipline your thoughts. Speak about what you want rather than what you don't want. Speak about desired conditions rather than current problems. Speak with confidence and expectation rather than doubt and fear. This doesn't mean lying about your circumstances or pretending problems don't exist. It means choosing to emphasize solutions. Your words carry creative power. So speak life into your dreams. Speak health into your body. Speak abundance into your circumstances. Every word you utter is an affirmation that either strengthens or weakens your mental atmosphere. Choose your words as carefully as you choose your thoughts, knowing that they ripple outward into the universe and return to you multiplied. The most profound truth William Walker Atkinson offers is that you are not powerless. You have never been powerless. At every moment of your life, you have been wielding the most potent creative force in existence, the power of thought. The only question is whether you'll continue using this power unconsciously, creating by default, or whether you'll seize control and begin creating deliberately. The universe is waiting for your command, ready to respond to whatever vibrations you broadcast, ready to deliver circumstances that match your dominant mental atmosphere. Think about where you are right now in this moment. Whatever circumstances surround you, whatever challenges you face, whatever limitations seem to constrain you, they all arose from thought patterns you held in the past. But that past is over. Those old thought patterns no longer have power unless you continue energizing them with present attention. Right now, in this very moment, you have the opportunity to begin broadcasting entirely new vibrations that will create an entirely new future. What do you truly want? Not what seems possible given your current circumstances, but what do you genuinely desire? Success in your career, financial abundance, vibrant health, loving relationships, creative expression, whatever it is, you can begin attracting it right now by holding a clear mental image of its fulfillment, feeling the emotions you would feel if it were already yours, and maintaining faith that the law of attraction is working on your behalf. The universe doesn't ask whether you deserve it or whether it seems realistic given your background. The universe simply responds to the vibrations you send out. Stop waiting for circumstances to change before you allow yourself to feel successful, prosperous, healthy, and happy. That's backwards thinking that keeps you trapped. Change your mental atmosphere first, and circumstances must eventually follow. See yourself already living the life you desire. Feel gratitude for blessings already on their way to you. Expect doors to open, opportunities to appear, resources to flow. This isn't delusional fantasy but alignment with natural law, and natural law never fails. Yes, you will face doubts. Yes, you will experience setbacks. Yes, there will be days when maintaining positive vibrations feels impossible. But persistence is what separates those who transform their lives from those who continue living in limitation. Every master of this law went through periods of doubt and difficulty. The difference is that they persisted. They continued their mental discipline even when results seemed slow in coming. They maintained faith even when circumstances seemed to contradict their desires. And eventually, inevitably, the law responded. You are capable of far more than you've ever imagined. The only limitations you face are the ones you accept in your own mind. The poverty, the illness, the failure, the loneliness that you may be experiencing, none of these are your destiny. They are simply reflections of past thought patterns, and you can change those patterns starting right now. Every person who has ever achieved greatness, every person who has risen from poverty to wealth, from sickness to health, from obscurity to recognition, did so by learning to control their thoughts and direct their mental vibrations deliberately. The time for transformation is now, not someday when you feel more ready or when circumstances are more favorable. Right now, with whatever you have, wherever you are, you can begin the practice that will reshape your entire existence. Choose one desire. Create a vivid mental image of its fulfillment. Concentrate on that image daily with emotion and faith, and watch as your external world gradually rearranges itself to match your internal vision. Remember that you are not in this alone. The same universal intelligence that orchestrates the movements of planets, the changing of seasons, the growth of seeds into mighty trees, that same intelligence responds to your thoughts and works on your behalf when you align with its laws. You have access to infinite power, infinite wisdom, infinite resources. All you must do is claim this power through the direction of your thought. Stop living as a victim of circumstance. Stop blaming external conditions for your situation. Stop waiting for someone else to save you or for luck to finally turn in your favor. You are the creator of your experience, the architect of your destiny, the master of your fate. The power has always been within you, in your thoughts, in your mental atmosphere, in the vibrations you broadcast every moment of every day. Make today the day everything changes. Make this the moment you take full responsibility for your mental state and commit to cultivating thoughts that match the life you desire rather than the life you currently experience. Start small if you must, but start. Begin noticing your thoughts. Begin redirecting negative patterns. Begin visualizing desired outcomes. Begin speaking words of faith and expectation. Begin feeling gratitude for blessings not yet visible. Begin living as the person you're becoming rather than the person you've been. Your transformation awaits. Your ideal life exists already in potential, waiting only for the right mental vibrations to call it into manifestation. Every great achievement in human history began as a thought in someone's mind. Your achievements await the same beginning. Think the thoughts that match your desires. Maintain those thoughts despite contrary evidence. Act on the opportunities those thoughts attract, and persist until physical reality catches up with mental reality. The law of attraction is working in your life right now, whether you believe in it or not, whether you understand it or not. It has been working all along, delivering circumstances that match your dominant mental vibrations. Now that you understand this law, you have the opportunity to work with it consciously rather than unconsciously. You have the opportunity to become a deliberate creator rather than remaining a passive recipient. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever possess. Your thoughts are the seeds from which your entire experience grows. Plant the seeds you want to harvest. Cultivate them with attention and emotion. Protect them from the weeds of doubt and fear. Water them with faith and expectation. And trust the process, knowing that harvest time always follows planting time for those who tend their mental gardens with care. You are meant for greatness. You are meant for abundance. You are meant for joy, not because you're special or different from others, but because these are the natural states that flow to anyone who learns to think in harmony with universal law. Limitation, poverty, illness, and failure are not your birthright but the results of ignorant thinking. Now that ignorance is dispelled, there's nothing to prevent you from claiming the prosperous, healthy, successful life that is yours by right of consciousness. If you found value in this summary from the audiobook library, please like and subscribe to support this channel. Share this wisdom with others who are ready to transform their lives through the power of thought. And most importantly, take what you've learned here and apply it immediately in your own life. Don't just collect knowledge. Use it to create the magnificent reality you deserve. Your new life begins with your next thought. Make it a powerful one.